It's the 53rd issue of Tommy Reads X-Men. Let's roll that intro. Tommy Reads X-Men. Tommy Reads X-Men. It's cool. Catchy as hell, isn't it? What's up? It's your boy back at you again with another Tommy Reads X-Men. Today, we are looking at X-Men number 53 from February 1969, written by Arnold Drake with art by Warner Roth. This one is called The Rage of Blastaar. Our issue starts off with this dude on the front cover, and he straight up introduces himself as Blastaar. So if you hadn't got that from the title I just mentioned, he's the main villain. Now he goes on this long, pages-long soliloquy about how he needs combat, and he needs to fight, and blah, 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 combat, fight, and that's basically all he talks about. Basically what he sums up is he's a bad dude who liked to fight, and he needs to fight for some reason. And he just looks like he has a lion-looking face and like this straight up Marsha Brady in the Brady Bunch kind of hairstyle. And he dressed like Spartacus. That's all you need to know about Blastaar. I know you're saying, Tommy, we need to know a little bit more about Blastaar. And I'm going to hook you up. Blastaar was originally a Fantastic Four villain. And spoiler, he finds himself in the negative zone here. I'll get to the negative zone in a minute. But nowadays, he's sort of a major player, I guess, in Cosmic Marvel with like the stories like Annihilation Conquest. I've only read Annihilation, and that was a really good story. I should go and read more because Space Marvel's kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? If you haven't read it, definitely go check it out. Now, enough about this dude. Let's get to the action. At the X Mansion, we find our merry mutants, and Jean is messing with some contraption, and Scott and Hank are running, levers and stuff. Now, what's weird is, a bunch of issues back, they said the X-Men have to leave the mansion after the death of Professor X. They have to break up the team. This happened over the course of several issues, and now they're back in the mansion with no explanation. What's up with that? Now, Jean's using this machine to broadcast her mind across space. Phoenix much? How do you think they got a hold of her? So she's broadcasting her mind across space, and I guess her mind is too powerful because it blows up the machine. How does it blow it up? Like, that's what an explosion sounds like. Come on, y'all. You know. Now, for some reason, this Jean blowing up the machine decides to open a hole in the negative zone, and Blastaar comes coming out all angry. Now, what's the negative zone? I'm glad you asked. The negative zone is another portal or dimension that's mentioned a lot in Fantastic Four. And it's basically a place where not a lot of great people are kept. Like villains are there in the negative zone. It's all you really need to know. If you want to know more about the negative zone, check out Tommy Reads Fantastic Four, which is a series I'm never going to do because besides the thing, I don't care about the Fantastic Four. Now back to Tommy Reads X-Men. Now, instead of being like, hey, y'all, thanks for breaking me out of the negative zone, how about I go buy you lunch? Who wants cheese fries? Blastaar is like, no, I gotta fight these people. Why? For why? They helped you out, bruh. And you gonna reward them with some sucker punches? That ain't cool. So we get Blastaar versus the X-Men. And Hank goes down first, because Hank always gets knocked out first. And I should mention it's not Blaster it's not spelled Blaster like the dude from the Autobots. It's like Blastaar with two A's at the end, like Brave Star, if you remember that cartoon. Underrated, go check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime as of this recording, but now that I said that, they're probably taking it off, you know what I'm saying? In the course of the battle, Cyclops uses this weird gambling analogy. Like, I'm sure when they were writing it, they're like, this is typing. This is gold, y'all. Anyway, you know what? Let's just take a look at it real quick. So Cyclops says, right, now pick up the dice and see how they roll against Blastaar. It's going to be a tricky gamble. Like, how long was he holding on to that gambling analogy with dice and... I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to the review. You better than that, Scotty. You better than that. But what the X-Men end up doing, Iceman creates, and he hasn't done this before, he creates mannequin ice people, and they kind of launch them at Blastaar. And he takes the bait and destroys them. And ice everywhere, and the ice starts to melt. Now, in the course of melting, he's fighting by Charles's old machines and stuff, and zzz, he gets electrocuted. Now, Blastaar's big old corpse is laying there because he's seemingly dead, and everyone is like, oh, well, he did. And except for Jean, who feels bad because she's like, I brought him here with the power of my mind. I feel kind of responsible, but everybody's like, nah, but he started, he was a jerk, man. Like, he could have offered us cheese fries, but he did not. So, you know, he get what you got coming to you. End of main story. Let's get to the backup. The backup story is called Welcome to the Club, Beast. Now, if you haven't been following the previous Tommy Reads X-Men backup stories, this is Beast's origin story. It is quite boring, except for the occasional bit of action. But basically, this villain kidnaps Hank's parents, and he's like, you're going to do my bidding. And Hank, not even reluctantly, he's like, oh, well, okay, he's got my parents. So let me go ahead and steal this thing that he needs stealing. And so he steals a solar generator and just gives it to him. Now, the Conquistador's like, cool, here's the next thing I want you to steal. And Hank tries to put up a fight. We get Hank versus the Conquistador, and it don't go well for Hank because he's not a trained X-Men like, you know, he would be later on. The X-Men do show up, and then they start fighting the henchmen. Now, you got Bobby, you got Cyclops, you got Angel, who's already on the team, even though we haven't got his origin story. We get that next issue. But Hank joins them, and he's like, who are these lads? Let me team up with them. And, you know, he's already kind of talking down to him because he's a jerk. But they handle the henchmen easily. The Conquistador tries to put on the generator. It backfires on him. He blows up, and the X-Men escape because Papa Chuck rolls up in the Rolls Royce, and he's like, get in the car. How is he driving? How did he, you know, pick him up? Now, Hank rescues his parents. They go back to his house, and Charles, Papa Chuck Xavier, decides to mind wipe the entire town. Like, he goes on a mind wiping spree. Forget the fact that Hank was on national TV in a football game, showing off his powers, bragging, you know, acting like a big shot, climbing down the wall like he's wannabe Spider-Man. You know, ignore the fact that he'd have to mind wipe everyone who done watch that on TV, but he mind wiped the whole town, and he's like, parents, I want to take this guy to a special school, and parents are like, oh, well, I guess, I don't know. End of backup story. Let's get some final thoughts. All right, y'all, this issue was about a 7.5 out of 10. And let me tell you why. It was a fun, action-packed issue. I mean, Blastaar wasn't going to change the world. You know, he ain't no Magneto or no whatever, even a Sauron. But he was an okay villain for what seems like a one and done. Now, they had a bunch of plot holes in not only the backup story with, you know, Hank was on national TV, right? How could Charles mind wipe the town and nobody know who he is? Also, they had some plot holes in the main story. Like, how did they get back in the X-Mansion without any explanation? I don't know. Hopefully they go into it later. Somehow I doubt they will. But basically, this was a fun story. I enjoyed reading it, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. If you like what you see or are mildly entertained, please like and subscribe down here. Hit that bell notification in the corner. I think it's somewhere over here, but I'm not sure. And do your boy a solid. Help spread the word about the Tommy Love Stuff channel, YouTube's best kept secret. Got a lot of great stuff on the channel, a lot of great stuff coming up. Check the playlist to see if you like food reviews, if you like other comic reviews, other stuff, pop culture. This is the channel for you. Again, please like and subscribe. If this is your first time watching, thank you for letting me entertain you. If this is your 50th or 60th time watching, I appreciate the support and continue to do so. We'll be back with another Tommy Reads X-Men soon. Later.